So like there were some technical questions around what code architecture would we go with, and then there was also a branding question. Like I said, like I think we should not use PayPal as brand because this is not consistent with being where all the money is. You want a centralized database, so I was kind of against the PayPal branding, and I wanted to do a bunch of things that seemed extremely risky, and I think those things would have worked out, but at a time when companies are dropping like flies, and I'm proposing that we do all these things that sound very risky. This is just much too scary for the rest of the team.
You seem to be attracted to crazy ideas that other people are like, that, like, you know, I think the autopilot one is a great example where everyone's kind of trying this spatial approach to self-driving. You know, they're doing Waymo for 10 years, nobody cares, and you come out and say, hey, we think vision is the way forward, and deep learning and vision, you know, will take us all the way there. How do you find like the courage inside to, I mean, people have to be coming up to you all the time and, you know, thinking that you're an idiot or it's never going to happen. And, you know, how do you find that in yourself to like go through all that resistance and still be confident in, you know, your thesis?
I mean, I try to be hyper rational. So it's not, you know, it's just like if the reasoning fits and you're not violating laws of physics or something, then that's the thing you should do. So, and I guess the other day, if we lost all the money, I wouldn't, you know, as long as we didn't lose other people's money, I guess I just lose my money, I don't mind. These things just don't seem that crazy to me. So, like, I think if PayPal had executed the plan that I wanted to execute on, I think it would probably be the most valuable company in the world.
Yeah.
It would be called X, but it would be the most valuable company in the world. On the other hand, now that's not all good though. On the other hand, then a lot of super talented people would have stayed. And because PayPal got acquired by eBay not long after, like, you know, there was like the PayPal coup at the end of 2000. 18 months later, it was acquired by eBay. So, and then, you know, if you think of the companies that came out of PayPal, the so-called PayPal mafia, YouTube, you know, those Steve and Chad created YouTube. Jerry Sobelman created Yelp. You know, Peter created Palantir and a bunch of other things. David Sachs created his company, and Reid Hoffman created LinkedIn.
Wow. It's almost like all that market cap still exists, but now it's allocated on all these other tech companies instead of X.com.
Yeah, so in retrospect, like, I don't know, sometimes like it's maybe a good thing that X wasn't, or PayPal didn't achieve those things, because all these other companies would have at least been delayed, or may not have existed.
There's definitely been kind of a resurgence in interest as we get into kind of cryptographic, you know, money and Bitcoin and all that, of like interest in this idea, you know. And it's interesting, like, software hasn't eaten the banking industry yet. Software's eaten a lot of industries. There's some that it just hasn't, and banking's still there, you know.
Stripe's eating them slowly, but they're doing a pretty good job. The banks are in trouble if it's not Stripe, it'll be somebody else.
And you love code, but you don't seem to be as bullish on Bitcoin. Do you have any? Could you break down like why? Because you're talking about this big database that's more secure for faster transactions. It seems like Bitcoin's hitting at least some of those.
I'm neither here nor there on Bitcoin. Yeah. Yeah.
What did you think when you read like Satoshi's white paper for the first time? Were you like, oh, it's pretty interesting? Or
that was pretty clever. It's just like the things. Yeah. This always gets like the crypto people angry, but There are transactions that are not within the bounds of the law, and there are obviously many laws in different countries, and normally cash is used for these transactions, but in order for illegal transactions to occur, the cash must also be used for legal transactions. You need an illegal to legal bridge. That's where crypto comes in.
So is it kind of the dark net stuff?
It can't be entirely dark, because otherwise how do you buy normal stuff? And cash these days is used just much rarer. It's hard. It's like increasingly difficult to use cash. Some places you can't use cash at all.
Yeah.
So there's a forcing function for transactions that are illegal, quasi-legal, and in some cases legal. But it's got to have some. It's got to be both legal and illegal. It doesn't count otherwise. Otherwise, you simply it can't just be transactions within an illegal economy. Because how do you buy, like, food in a house or something? You must have a legal to illegal bridge. So where I see crypto as is effectively as a replacement for cash, but not as a replacement as a primary. Not as I do not see crypto being the primary database. So now this is sometimes taken being like I'm being judgmental about crypto, and it's actually, I think there's a lot of things that are illegal that shouldn't be illegal. But so it's not as though I think that sometimes governments just have too many laws about that. They shouldn't have so many things that are illegal.
Didn't you say like on Mars there'd be less laws?
Hopefully.
Yeah.